Hello everyone, welcome to another lecture on C++ programming language. We are on lecture 22nd on C++. On lecture 21st, we discussed about if-else statements, which are conditional statements in C++, which is used to check conditions in C++. So here in today's lecture, we go and write another example using if-else statements. We already, wrote some programs using if-else statements, but in this lecture also, we write another program. So we write a program in C++ so it can check the username and the password. So we actually write a login program today using if-else statements. So we check if the username and the password entered by the user from the keyboard is equal to the username and the password which we have on our system. If they are equal, it means the username and the password is entered correctly by the user. So we say welcome username, like welcome the name of the user. And if the username and the password is not correct, so we display another message to the user, which say incorrect username or password. So now pause this video first and go and try to write this program by yourself. Think about it, write the logic, write the code on your computer, then compile and run if it's working. So if you need help, then come back and see my video. So it's time to write our program to check, the username and the password, or a login program in C++. So we are in lecture 22nd on C++, and we write a login program. So first, we include our IOStream library, IOStream. Then we using namespace is std, which is C++ standard library. Then we write our main function, integer main. This is our main function. We open the main function and we close, and the main function return 0. And now I declare string. I declare some string variables, string username. Username is equal to, let's say username is admin. And I write here string password or user password. Password is equal to, like I say, admin 123. This is our password. And now we declare other two variables, like a string uname and pwd. So we declare these two variables to take username and the password from the user. So this is the username which we have in the system, and this is the password which we have in the system. Now we see out. I write here username. And then whenever user enter that username, so we say cn, so it goes to the uname. So we ask the user to enter the username, then we store that username inside the uname, and then we ask the user cout we say password, then the user enter the password. Then we store cn inside the pwd. And now we write our logic here. So we have to compare this username and this password, which is entered by the user, with this username and the password which we have here. So I check here the logic. I write here. I write our remaining code here. I say if so let me write this side. If the username, okay, if the uname is equal to the username which we have in the system, and we have to put the AND logical operator because we have multiple conditions. First condition is we check the username which is entered by the user is equal to the username which we have in the system, and the password which is entered by the user, pwd, is equal to the password which we have in the system. Password. Then we open the if block and we close the if block here, and we say if the username, if the condition is true, if the user enters the correct username and password, so we have say cout welcome. We say welcome, quotation, uname, welcome admin, and then end line, and then if the username and password is incorrect, so we have the else statement. So I put the if here, then we put the else. This is the else block. So we see out username or password is incorrect, or password is incorrect. End line. So this is a program. So our logic is here. Our important logic is here. We check the username which we collected from the user, which entered from the keyboard by the user. We check if this username which is entered by the user is equal to the username which we have in the system. If the user enters the admin, so admin become equal to admin, so this part is true. And then check with the password. The password is, entered by the user is equal to the password which you have in the system. If the user entered like admin123, so admin123 is equal to admin123, so the username and the password both become true. So we say the user cout welcome admin. And if the username or the password is incorrect or entered by the user incorrectly, and then the condition become false, so the if section or the if parts will not be executed and the else part will be executed. And in this else part, we see out username or password is incorrect. So this is a simple program which checks if the username or password is correct or not. This is a login program. So we have the username here, admin. We declared a password variable which is store admin123. Then we declare another two variables, uname and pwd, and we have the user cout username. So enter the username. Whenever user enters the username, we store inside the variable uname, and then we cout password. We ask the user to enter the password. When the user enters the password, so we store that password inside pwd, and then we check if that username is equal to the username we have in the system, and the password which is entered by the user is equal to the password in the system. So see, we say welcome username, welcome admin. And then if the condition is false, if the users enter incorrect username or password, so the else section will be executed. And we print out, see out in the else section, username or password is incorrect. So this was another program using if else, which we check if the username and the password is correct or not. So we wrote a login system, which many systems, when you use, they ask you for the username and password. You log into the Facebook, you log into your Gmail, you log into any system, they ask you for the, even if you log into your computer, it will ask you for the username and password. And the logic behind those system is this one, this program. This is the logic which works behind, the Facebook login, the Gmail login, the other system login. So it is a simple form of, a login system. So now it's time for practice, and let's go and write this program. I'm back on my system, so let's open our IDE. So we are on lecture 22nd. And in this lecture, we write a program which is a login system using C++. So first we declare string username is equal to admin, and then we declare another variable string password that is equal to admin 123. So this this is like we have the username and the password in our system. So now we declare two more variables. So let's write string uname and comma pwd or password. And we see out here, and we quotation mark, and we say it's a login system. Login. So this is it's a login page. And end line. And now we see out, we say, you can say enter username, or you just ask for the username. So username. And now semicolon, and we see end, we take the username and store it inside uname variable. And now we print out the password. And now if the user enters the password, so we store inside pwd variable. So now it's time for our logic. So here we check using, if else statements. We check if uname, which is entered by the user, is equal to the username which we have in the system, and the pwd or the password is equal to the password which we have in the system. So now here we see out, and we say login successfully. And we also see out, we say quotation here, welcome or username, and end line. And now if the user enters incorrect username or password, so we have the else section. So here we see out, say invalid username or password, or you can say change this one like incorrect username or password. I can check this. incorrect username or password. So this is a simple, login system. So first we declare our variables. We declare, username variables, and we initialize as admin, and we declare another variable, which is password, and we store the value admin123. So this is the username and the password which we have in the system. Anyone which enters the right username and password, they can log into the system. If they enter the incorrect username and password, they cannot log into the system. So we here, declare two other variables. One variable is uname, another variable is called pwd, which is used to password the user. So then we say out login page, or you can say login system, and then say out username. So we ask the user to enter the username. So whenever user enters the username, we store that username in uname variable, and then we ask for a password from the user. If the user enters that password from the keyboard, so we store that password inside pwd variable. Then we check here if the username which is entered by the user is equal to the username which we have in the system, and the pwd or the password which is entered by the user is equal to the password which we have in the system. So if both conditions are true, so the if part will be executed, the body of if. So we have here cout. We can say here login successfully, and then welcome uname. If the user enters incorrect username or password, so the condition becomes false. So the if section will not be executed. Then the else section will be executed, which we say cout incorrect username or password. So let's run our program. Let's compile and run our program. Yeah, so let's first, it says login page. So now it asks for the username. So I enter the username as the, admin, like the correct username first. All right, admin. And it's asked for the password. I enter the correct username, admin123. So now it says login successfully, welcome admin. But if we compile and run again our program and I enter the username correct, like admin, but I enter the password something 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. And now it says incorrect username or password, because the password which is entered by the user is incorrect. Our password here in the system is, admin123. So this was our lecture 22nd, and it was a login system. So we wrote a program which checks the username and a password. If the username or the password of the user which enters from the keyboard is correct, so it can log into the system, and otherwise it will tell the user that incorrect username or password. So this was a simple login, system, which, most of, the systems like Facebook, like LinkedIn, like Gmail, those services ask for the username or password, or even your system when you turn on your computer is ask for username or password. So this is the simple logic behind them. But then instead of storing this username and password as a static one, they store on the database, and also they use some hash functions for security reasons. And then they check, it's used the same logic, but they also encrypt the username and the password which they store on the database, and then they compare the same way they compare, and it's the same logic actually. So this was a C++ program which was a login system. So see you on the next lecture.